fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell at before you blow up a plane.
Basha K. Ali!
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, Chrissie, to say I dabbled in stand-up or something, I haven't even disrespect for you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt. I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, Rockfin, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. No, Facebook don't like me anymore, but that's okay. Facebook is for old people. Before I bring in our fabulous guests, I have a couple of comedy shows to plug because I am a grifter. I guess I'm grifting by doing comedy for people and making and entertaining them. I'll be in Minnesota in 2 weeks for the first time, headlining the Great River Bowl and Partners Pub in Sartell, Minnesota. Lila Hart will be featuring for me, and the great Nick Rekieta. That's right, you heard me correctly. Nick Rekieta will be doing comedy as well. Who knows what that will be like? Who knows if it'll be his last time? But this seems like a one of a kind event. You may not be able to see this again, so get your tickets now. It is probably going to sell out. It was at least halfway sold out the last time I checked. Then I'm back on Long Island, headlining in Belmore at the Brokerage Comedy Club the weekend of Friday, October 27th and 28th. Then back in Florida to headline the Tampa Side Splitters Club on Sunday, December 3rd. And then San Diego the first weekend of the new year, January 5th and 6th, 2024 at the Mic Drop Comedy Club. For tickets, go to ChrissieMayr.com. And as always, if you know of a venue that is cool and based and would have me, let me know. I always like to come out to new cities and such. Okay, now we got a fun topic for you guys tonight. The chat is, you guys are just, you're very, I can feel the excitement, and I can't do this. I can't cover this topic alone. I won't. So I've brought in, she is a regular on SimpCast. She's someone whose opinion I value, and she's very decked out in autumnal right now. Nina Infinity, welcome. Hi. And orange nails too.
Yeah, it's got pumpkins on it. Well, this one has a pumpkin. I can finger you as a pumpkin.
You can. Please do. It wouldn't be Halloween without a autumnal fingering. And coming to us with no autumnal decorations. She will soon to be. She's coming to us from the DMV. Lauren DeLaguna getting her passport photo taken.
Exactly, and my mugshot at the same time. But no, seriously, yeah, I just moved here, so I'm really happy to like get to decorating. Yes,
so sweet. You know what's funny? I've never even heard of the word autumnal. So
what?
Yeah, it's what? Look it up.
Are you kidding me? I say it like 40 times a day.
This is when like English as a second language like really kicks in sometimes, where you're like, wow, I didn't know this word. Like I know the word
my
autumn
word,
but I didn't know that was a word like autumnal. Didn't know. Yeah, autumnal. Yeah. Like
emphasis on tums, like autumnal. Like look at the autumnal. Let's take a picture by the autumnal display. Look at the autumnal mall decorations. Like look at the if you dress in browns, greens, neutrals, oranges, that's an autumnal wardrobe.
Wow. See, you learn something new every day. That's so crazy. Well, there we go.
Yeah. I think Frank didn't know the word either till I brought it into his life.
I feel very autumnal right now.
You are. You're very autumnal right now. Lauren and Nina's Twitter handles are scrolling below, so please follow them before you do anything else. Lauren was on this past Sunday SimpCast. Nina is a regular, and she has great takes. So I had to bring them both in. And I think so basically this was a surprising thing. Pearl has been a little bit melting down or triggered by SimpCast recently, which is shocking to me because I just didn't think I was like really big and famous enough for her to pay attention to. Like, we do occasionally DM, and I'm like, hey, Pearl, would love, because I had her I did a one-on-one interview with her maybe a year or more ago when I was even smaller. And we will like, really, we're not like, but she answers my DMs. I asked her recently, like a couple weeks ago, end of September, hey, Pearl, would love to have you back. She said, no, I'm just too busy. And I said, all right, keep crushing it. So like, I have no ill will towards her. And she comes up a lot on SimpCast because she is a person of note. She creates newsworthy content. So, you know, oftentimes it's not me bringing her up. It's somebody else on the channel or something that Pearl has tweeted or a video, or she does a lot of very interesting conversations and interesting topics. And I think she likes that. I think she likes to be talked about. I think it helps her business.
Wait, are we not gonna address the elephant in the room?
What?
That she hates Brittler.
She hates Brittany. She hates Brittany Venti. So this is why yes, thank you, Nina. I'm setting the stage for, like, I thought she and I were cool. And it seems that once Brittany Venti started to maybe go after Pearl, then I started to get hate,
guilt
criticism.
by association,
Right, which we love.
The way it works, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's how the
I
internet
actually
works.
I don't know any of the Brittany Pearl drama
Okay.
at all.
Oh, well, then you're going to have to go on Brittany's channel after this and go and watch all of her Pearl videos, and then you'll get exactly what's going on. But yeah, basically, you know, Brittany, I love Brittany, shout out. But, you know, sometimes she can get interested in some people and then start making content about them. And
see, the way how autism works is you can use it for good or evil. And I think with it just, and it can be some people's greatest strengths, because like I would not have the attention span to do the kind of deep dives that she does on people. And I think with Brittany, when she realized someone is a hypocrite or there's something inconsistent about how they behave or what they say, she will want to look into that. And
like Eliza Blue.
Yeah.
He blew up Eliza Blue. So I mean, yeah, she does a good job.
Did you mean to say that she blew up Eliza Blue? Did you mean that?
I mean, I heard it afterwards, but no, that was not my intention.
That was good.
Yeah.
And I don't know why everyone in this day of internet, like, there's this sense that you need to hold everyone accountable for everything they've done and said if they've been on your channel. But these are interesting times we live in. Like, people ask me, like, want me to answer for what Brittany says and does. People want me to, like, answer to what, you know, other people I've worked with say and do. Anthony Cumia, Gino Bisconti, like any of the other YouTubers.
Eliza Blue.
Like, yeah,
I remember
Blue.
When the thing happened and everybody was mad at you because they were like, well, how could you have had her on your show then? Like, what the fuck? Like,
I got hoodwinked. I was hoodwinked by her. I had her on 4 times like an idiot. I just was like, I have never known a sex trafficking survivor, so I just was trying to learn as much as, and like, we got along. Like, we DM'd a ton. Like, we were friendly, I thought, but ultimately looking back, I feel like she was just using me because, like, she wanted to get to bigger platforms, and oftentimes I am a stepping stone to that.
Would you have her on again, like, since the whole debacle, to like air out
Eliza,
like, everything? Yeah, I think you absolutely should have her back.
Of course I would. I don't think I'm still blocked, but of course. I would have anybody on.
I think Chrissie would have on anybody. That's why one of the reasons I love about Chrissie is you, like, no one's really off limits. Like, it's people who make themselves off limits. It's usually like, they're like, I don't want to have anything to do with you. But Chrissie's usually really like, She actually wants to have those kind of conversations with people, and that's the kind of what makes a good interviewer, is that you don't want to interview just people you agree with all the time. You want to interview people you don't agree with, so you can have a conversation.
And you can't watch the content of people that you just agree with all the time. Like, I agree with a lot of Pearl's takes. I understand her points, and she's got a method that's different than a lot of other folks out there. And so what I think started this whole thing. So Pearl went on a bit of a triggered tirade, a lot of tweets, and I was like, this is strange. But then I noticed that, because I have a couple of people who clip from my channel, I just go, hey, watch everything, clip whatever you find interesting. So this 18-minute, 49-second clip just came out 2 days ago on my channel, titled "Just Pearly Thingz Gets SimpCast to Debate Over Marriage and Happiness." And this was this past Sunday's show with Lauren here, Misty Winston, Keanu Thompson, Lila Hart, Hotep Jesus, and Lauren, and she goes by L, some bitch I know, on Twitter. And again, this is an example of how, like, things Pearl says creates debate and conversation. And so that's why this was clipped. It wasn't a few people like to go at Pearl, but that's not why this was clipped. It was clipped.
This actually wasn't this past Sunday show. This was the Sunday before, because this Sunday you had on Camelot.
Oh, you're right.
This is Hotep Jesus. This is not this last
this
Sunday.
Was from, you're right. This was from October 1st. Because that was his birthday. That's when he was on. And correct. So this was from a couple of SimpCasts ago. And it was clipped and it came out. And but then there was a strange barrage of tweets that came from Pearl, which I just don't, which is fine. Of course. Like, I understand how the world works, like how Twitter works. Like, I make content. I expect people to comment on it. If they feel a way, you're allowed to agree, disagree. You can't be upset that people tweet at you or talk about you or anything like that. But I'm confused at what feels like from Pearl a misrepresentation of what the show is, what the clip is, what we're saying. I think she does this a lot. Where what I find with at least like the SimpCast content, she will post a picture or a clip and then not speak to anything that's said in the clip. She'll just say what she wants to say. She'll make the point that she wants to make, and it has oftentimes nothing to do with the discussion that's happening in the clip. Let me bring up this for an example. That is her. Okay, she did about 4.
Sound?
That sounds like a dryer. Is that a dryer?
Oh, my bad.
Thanks.
I mean, it's good to know that you're cleaning your clothes. Okay, so this was me quote tweeting her, which I don't know. I don't really often do. So, but this was Pearl's tweet saying she just took the SimpCast logo, the graphic promoting the show, quote tweeted saying, "These are the women we're simping over that are the epitome of hotness. You showed me an epidemic." Which is strange. Ouch. Because no one is proclaiming to be the epitome of hotness. Finding someone hot is kind of a subjective thing. Again, like I choose people for the panel because of their opinions, not how they look. Like if there happens to be a show where everyone is attractive, like that's not, I mean, I guess I have great taste, but no, I mean, I'm not picking people based on how they look for the panel. I thought that was clear, but maybe it's not.
Well, she's calling all you guys ugly. So that's wow.
But I'm not offended by that because like some people's opinions matter and some people's don't. You know what I mean? It's certainly not like you know what I mean? Like you can't get upset at everyone. If I got upset at everyone who called me ugly on the internet, I wouldn't get anything done.
Yeah, that's
and you
true.
just have to consider the source sometimes. So I'm not upset at Pearl like calling me not hot. Because I don't do SimpCast like with a big smoky eye and my tits out every week. I'm not like I'm oftentimes just dressed like this.
And you don't need a smoky eye, but the tits out would help.
Sure.
Sometimes they're a little out. Sometimes I have just a rush day. But if I do like look my best, it's because I like to give a shit. But I'm not. Being hot or looking hot is not a requirement for the show. It is not It's not.
See,
like,
I think this
how I
is one of
book
those
people.
things where I think it comes from the whole Britney thing because like and I know Britney's not on this panel clearly. She wasn't there that night, right?
No, she wasn't.
Okay. But usually the reason that Pearl's going after looks right now for this panel specifically is because she knows Britney's part of SimpCast. And usually and Britney made a note of the fact that Pearl is most of the time very unkempt and doesn't like brush her hair, and she doesn't just take care of herself, like the most basic stuff that you should be doing, like she's not doing. And I think this is kind of like an indirect, like passive aggressive dig at the idea that, you know, all of these people would be extremely hot, and they're not, or something. I don't know.
I get that point, but like Britney's not on every Sunday. So it's like, so taking a dig at a show where the person that you despise is not even on every week is like confusing, because it's like, well, why don't you wait till she's on? Or and then it's just so funny to me because, and I try to keep this opinion, and I've heard others say it too, like, you know, don't attack Pearl's looks, you should attack her arguments, which I really try to focus on. And so I quote tweet saying, it looks catty to comment on Pearl's looks, focus on her arguments. And then here we have Pearl just like attacking our looks. So it's like she doesn't even, she's not above attacking people's looks. So
but she does it all the time too. Like, it's not even like this. She does it all the time, not just towards you guys. She does it to, like, you know, women over 35 are basically like just done. And then like she's always like making that like, look, like who's prettier, like 25-year-old this or 35-year-old this. It's constantly about this, like, you know, who looks better at this age or this age. And it's just like, girl, is that what's really important thing here? Like, okay.
I think like it is more important to address arguments than, that's why I don't think I've really gone off on Pearl's looks. I just don't find it necessary. My whole thing is like, I just don't think she's trying to help people, which is fine. Everyone can do what they want to do with their content. So I think I'm allowed to make that observation, just like she's allowed to make observations about SimpCast. Let me pull up another clip.
So funny.
It's strange that there is such a, she seems
wait, she's in the chat. Hi, Pearl.
Oh, hey, Pearl.
Come on.
Is she really?
Come hang out with us.
I'm gonna send you a link, Pearl.
Let's have a conversation. We would love to have a conversation with you.
Really, I'm really excited because I like her.
Come hang out with us, Pearl.
Okay. All right, let me bring up another clip. I hate to be misunderstood, which is why I'm doing this stream. And I'm trying to figure out if it's purposeful misunderstanding or by accident don't care to understand misunderstanding. So here is a clip of she saying, "This is the funniest cope I've ever seen. A bunch of leftover women arguing about how they're hotter than me and how men really want ran through chicks." So isn't the definition of leftover women mean you're not married? Is that what a leftover woman is?
I didn't know.
I think a Urban Dictionary. I don't know, but I think a leftover woman is like someone who's like kind of like, you know, constantly going from partner to partner and nobody wants her anymore. Like used goods.
It's a Chinese term. It's late. It's okay. It's popularized by the All China Women's Federation, classifies women who remain unmarried in their late 20s and beyond. So this is talking about unmarried women. She's saying that we are unmarried. Okay, so I'm married. Lauren, I think is single. I think Misty is married. Keanu just got engaged. Lila is married. I don't know Elle's status.
Elle is single.
Elle is single. So 2 women on this panel are single. So I don't know if it's fair to call all of us unmarried when more, I think about half are.
And so I'm single, but it doesn't mean I'm not like getting guys on DMs. You know,
at what age
I'm not struggling.
You're pretty young.
Like I'm not struggling. It's not difficult for me to find a nice guy to take me out on Friday night. So, I don't know if I would classify myself as leftover quite yet. Am I heading towards that direction?
Who
Arguably,
knows?
maybe. Hopefully
No,
not.
it'll be
If
fine.
you're over
Uh,
30, you're basically done. I'm just letting you know. According
Okay, so
to
the
Pearl.
claim,
Okay,
the claim on
but
this
I'm
clip
not.
is that the claim on this clip is that we are all unmarried. Number one, that's already not true out the gate. Number two, that we are arguing about how we're all hotter than Pearl and how men want ran through chicks. I'm gonna play this. Tell me if that sounds like what we're talking about.
Anything, I built all women up, but she is doing something really bad to women because
What is
she's going with what a bunch of men.
What is that noise? Okay. Let me. This is Keanu talking about how she feels like Pearl's content is not helpful for women.
Right.
I agree with that.
I'm pausing this for a few seconds, of course, because my internet's being gay.
She is
Okay.
doing something really bad to women because
Yeah, that was my dog.
Okay. Your dog is
she's going
heckling.
with what a bunch of men are telling her to say to make money. And
Okay,
that's-
to be
I mean,
fair,
no woman would ever really say such a thing. I cannot honestly believe that any woman would believe what she's saying is, yeah, you know what? When I hit 30,
Like, I don't think is Keanu saying that she thinks she's hotter than Pearl? Like that, I just don't understand why you would misrepresent the clip that way. No one is here going, I'm hotter than Pearl. Like that would be that's just a very sophomore take to have.
we disagree.
you know what?
So I
Fine.
was hanging around like the red pill community for a while. So I was meeting like the women, the whammons in the red pill community. And hot tub. And I hate
God.
listening to myself speak. I'm
Right, wow.
like, oh my God. Okay.
It is funny. It's funny to play a clip of you while you're sitting here.
Yeah.
Guys, in case you're wondering, I've sent
Cringe.
Pearl the link so she can linger in the chat or she can come on and explain herself. I'm down for whatever.
They believe that shit. Like they genuinely believe a lot of that shit. And so like
What's there not to believe?
yeah, like I get where you're here's where I think a lot of the red pill talking points are true if everything is if everything in life were very basic and simple, but life is way more complex in the red pill community.
Well,
It's
men are kind of simple.
They're like all men. No, that's not true. They're like all men want these perfect virgins, and women are basically worthless every time they put a penis in them, and yada yada. But then you talk to a lot of guys, and like you're like, hey, here's my friend Mary. She's a virgin, the one dressed in like the ankle length dress and going.
Now I see what you were getting at. You were saying like folks like Pearl in the red pill community say like you lose value as your body count goes up, that the best is to be a virgin. But then we look at the women who actually are virgins and they either lack social skills or they're who knows, sometimes they're very, very religious. They're more
Super
religious than the average guy really wants to deal with. And you're trying to explain like
There's a
this
region, they're virgins.
there's
Yeah,
the idea of a virgin, and then there's what these actual virgins are like in person. And you're like, and I think I said at one point, like, yeah, like guys are not going onto the internet and masturbating to virgins. You know what I mean? Like, and then I think I made a joke about like you got to put in your 10,000 hours. Like, how are you going to get your skills up? So Lauren, you at no point did you say I think I'm hotter than Pearl. Like I don't think that's a thing that any of us have said.
No, not yet. Maybe the last 10 seconds of the clip. We'll see.
I just don't understand why you would purposely misrepresent the actual clip that you're posting that people can watch and go, hey, wait, none of them actually said that.
I want to take you on a date, and they're like, no, I don't want to take Mary on a date. I want to take your fat ass friend with her.
Someone with a fat ass.
No, but yeah, like
I have plenty of friends that struggle with dating, and I try to will get guy friends to date them. And it's so funny because these incels are like, oh my God, why am I single? Like, why can't I get a girl? And then I'm like, oh my God, here's a really nice girl. And they're like, oh, not that girl. And it's like, she's really nice. And, I don't know. So.
Yeah, your body count, first of all, like you can be, that's not something you can see. That's something people can lie about. So I don't think that's really something you could lie about. Should not be a metric of how you find a lifelong partner.
I said that to Zerka, and he thought that was the dumbest thing, and he couldn't comprehend it. And he was like, "You could tell." And it's like, no, I'm sure you've been lied to. There are women with OnlyFans who say that they're virgins. Stop the cap.
Out of her shorts. I want to take her on a date, and it's like, do you care? You just got.
I like Lila's just laughing because
I know.
Lila's face is always like Pearl won because we're talking about her.
Oh, really? Is that what she thinks? That's funny.
She just laughs. Yeah, she's like, and I agree with that point. Like, she has figured some shit out. She is a genius that way.
I agree with that.
When it comes to how to be in the algorithm's favor. Who to talk about. Maybe that you're linked in with the algorithm. So that it boosts.
I don't think it's just about the algorithm either. It's not like with Pearl. I think that it's not just the algorithm. It's the ideas. It's like she knows the audience that she's directing her messages to. She knows the keywords to use. She knows how to get them triggered into using them. It's not just algorithm. It's like knowing the lingo and the way. It's like the whole Miles Morales thing that Gary and them do. They know it's going to trigger a certain amount of people and they're going to get those interactions. Pearl knows exactly what to say to get reactions out of women like myself. And I've been guilty of it. I've fallen for it several times where I've been like, what'd you say? And it's just, you go off and it's like, and then it becomes a whole thing and, people go back and forth. And it's all about the interactions, but she's good at that. She knows what to say.
And we're all only as strong as our triggers. Whatever you're triggered by is something that you actually do have a feeling with deep down. That's why, if someone calls me ugly or mid, I'm not triggered by it because, that's not how I feel about myself. But if my mom were to come back to life and be like, I remember she would say, you're wasting all this time doing comedy. And I would get triggered by it because I'd be like, it was in my early years when things weren't really coming together yet. So again, if you're triggered by something, that means that there is a nugget of truth in that for you. Not blanket statement about all women, but I think that's just a good message for everyone is notice what triggers you. Yeah. And you don't have to broadcast it to the world or let people know that they're triggering you, but it's always good that's the thing to focus on.
Totally.
Of John's dick? No, I don't. And that's reality of life. And so don't put reality into.
I love Lila's laugh.
She's great. She's just loving it.
But they're like, no, all men want virgins. Let's check the audience. Audience, do you want virgins? And the audience yeah, we all want virgins. Meanwhile, they're all paying $5 a month for these girls' OnlyFans that are all
Thank you, by the way. Thank you.
Excuse me? No, you don't want fucking virgins, apparently. And then Sneeka's like, I want a virgin. And it's like, isn't that your girlfriend sitting next to you?
You're not jerking off to virgins. Okay. So that clip is basically over. It's us talking about that men might say they want virgins, but they don't go for the virgins. Because then you yourself are try to introduce someone to virgins and they didn't go for it. But Pearl says that this clip is about us talking about how we all think we're hotter than her and that men want ran through chicks. I don't think any of us have said anything close to that. So I just am curious, is this a purposeful misrepresentation or you're just posting random clips and then just saying what you want? Or did you not even listen to it? I don't know. She probably doesn't care enough to truly understand what any of us are saying.
I don't think she's that dumb. See, that's the thing. If it's Pearl, I feel like she's very calculated when she does certain things. Again, this is something I think was to get a response. And I think it was more like to get a response from you, Chrissy, personally. I think she likes this. Like the fact that we're talking about it and the fact that she's in the chat, right? Like, I think this was her plan. It's like, let me make content. Let me see what these ladies are saying about me. Let me see if I can get something out of this, because this is a business and not like no shade. Okay. No shade, because it is a business and this is exactly what content creators do. Okay. So this is what people do. And there's a response for that. People love the drama. People love the back and forth. That's why I think Pearl should get in here. I think she should come talk to us. And maybe we can get some good clips by having an actual conversation. Yes, I think she's very calculative. So absolutely.
Apparently, she's tweeting.
But then
it's
easier.
Right now.
It's easier to make clips if you're not actually in it, and you can lie about what the content's about.
Sure,
just take a
misrepresent clips. Yeah,
exactly. So it's easier for her not even to come up. She could just like not shower and chill in her room and send tweets about how ugly we are. Wow.
Well, it's definitely easier to tweet than it is to actually explain your position. So I can understand why you'd want to avoid that. She's tweeting right now. How is it a meltdown if I tweet, but it's not a meltdown if they talk about me all the time for weeks? Pot calling the kettle. I think if I were to do 4 or 5, 6 tweets in a row, that to me is like you're a little bit sprung. But talking about an argument, an opinion, no. This is Pearl saying, Chrissy, host stream where they attack Pearl's look for 45 minutes. Pearl points out they too are mid-post wall, and then I play the victim. No, I'm literally just saying that I personally think it looks catty to comment on Pearl's looks, that it's better to focus on her arguments. And then Pearl went ahead and attacked my and everybody else's looks. Like, you can say a few people on the panel attacked my looks, but to say everyone is attacking my looks is disingenuous, because I didn't go after her looks. So I don't know. Again, like, it is harder to be specific and precise and like look into the things that you're saying, but that does take more time and I guess more attention. Let's put up another clip.
But also, I think it's kind of unfair to be like, they're talking about me for weeks. Like, how many times do you talk about Pearl?
Right. I was wondering what's the frequency in order for it to be talked about? Like, if you talk about someone once on like January 1st, 2001, and then you talk about them January 1st, 2002, is that talking about them for an entire year? Because
right. I think if someone's talking about you is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, she's a newsworthy, noteworthy person. She does a lot of appearances. She's a public figure. So once you're a public figure, you are now putting yourself out there as someone who can be critiqued, talked about. Again, like I've always said, she brings up interesting topics and she inspires interesting conversations. So I don't know that means I'm obsessed. It's actually kind of a compliment. Like, she's a tastemaker. She's a newsmaker. She's a trending person. She's a trendsetter. She's a trailblazer. I don't think that means obsessed. And again, I am not commenting on her looks because I don't think it's that interesting. Okay, here's another clip. She's saying, these are mid at best. Again, commenting on my and everyone's looks. These are mid at best. Post-wall women think they are the hottest thing since sliced bread. I wonder if that's similar to sliced bread. I am crying. This is too funny. Again, I don't think any of us think we're the hottest thing.
Post-wall women. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, Pearl says, like, the words, man. Like, she says the words that, like, that the manosphere, whatever you want to call it, like, they talk about, like, this the wall comes for everyone, especially the moment you hit 30. Like, it's like, and everyone goes through uglified, like, filter.
The wall only matters if you haven't attained your own personal goals, which not everyone. If you're someone who wanted to get married and fucked around and didn't, if you're someone who wanted to have kids and fucked around and didn't, and now you're too old, then that would be the wall.
Or like, if you're not ever taking care of yourself, like, you're constantly doing drugs, like, you're just not
fat, if you're just like Oh, right. And again, like someone from the outside can't really tell where you're at wall wise because she doesn't know she doesn't know who's married on the panel. Clearly, she doesn't know who has kids, who doesn't. So just basing by, I don't know, it seems very superficial. She's saying that we are saying that we are hotter than Pearl. I agree with Pearl, but don't like how it makes me feel. Yeah, marriage sucks, but just bail me out of bad choices. I don't think anyone has said that. Again, I am hotter than Pearl. So now let's listen to this clip and see if we are saying the things that she is claiming we are saying. I don't know how Pearly Thing's take is controversial. I have been saying for years that fuck my internet. Right in the butt. I don't care how good you are 35 plus. Put you next to an equally attractive 22-year-old and you live. Okay, so here I don't even need the sound on for this because I'm just reading through Rachel Wilson's here, which I like Rachel. She was on the channel recently.
I don't know her.
And Lauren is pointing out that Pearl is anti-marriage, so she encourages men to just replace their wives with aging partners with like a newer model, like people do with their cars.
Wait, okay, see, and that's one of the things that really confuses me about her because she's always like talking about how women should get married because they should have husbands and do everything the husband says, and that the husband is the boss, and that they should be basically they're like the secretary of the boss in the marriage, and then they have to like just do everything the husband says or whatever. But then they're like constant, and then she's doing the opposite. She talks out of the both sides of her mouth because she's like, but by the time they're like when they're 30 and whatever, the dude's probably gonna leave them because the wall's there. Or like basically they've given birth and they're already used goods.
And let's say, Nina, you are the perfect woman and you're a virgin and you were a virgin when you got married. Guess what? You still age. You'll still have kids. You'll still hit the wall.
Might get fat.
And then you're going to be left for a new. So it's like a woman who's done all the right things could still be left for a newer, younger model.
Yeah. And I like that's the stuff I don't get. So I'm like, are you anti-marriage or are you for marriage? Or are you and then she talks about divorce all the time and how like women are always the ones divorcing the men. Even though she's saying that the men are gonna leave the women because they're ugly and use goods. Now it's so confusing. Like it's like she's just so confusing to me all the time. And that's one of the reasons I decided to mute her, because I was like, I can't listen to you anymore. You make no sense. Like at least have
until I invited you on this stream, Nina.
Yeah.
You're like, God damn it.
I know. I was like, I
just make sure I'm not crazy. And I'm like, I think she's a smart girl. And so to like post clips that people can easily listen to and see what we're talking about. Post the clips with things that we're not saying. Seems just a bit disingenuous. And it's like, it's not even about us or what we're saying. It's just a means to an end for her. She says what she wants to say posts whatever clip, retweets it with whether it goes with it or not.
And then another thing is she keeps calling women like leftovers, and you're a leftover if you're not married by 30, but simultaneously you should get married by 20. And I don't know, none of it really seems to make sense. But then also you should never get married because it's really bad for the men to get married. But then if you don't get married, he could nothing that she says makes sense. It's all contradictory.
And then everything according to her logic. And that's one of the things that I was like, I kind of feel bad for her, because I'm like, if you ideologically like actually really believe these things, like I don't know what's going to end up happening to her, because from what I understand, she's around 26. I'm not sure exactly how old she is, but 30 is just right around the corner. So I'm like, if she believes the things she's saying, that means like she should be married now and she should be having kids right now, like tomorrow. And I don't even think she's in a serious relationship, let alone being married.
She isn't.
So it's just, I just don't understand where she thinks that she has such a moral authority to talk about such huge relationship goals and statuses and what that would mean for so many other people, when she herself is not even near the marriage line. I think I don't even know if she wants to get married, though. She's so weird. I don't know. I don't get her.
Well, she says that it's bad to get married, right? So why would she want to get married?
Right.
Why would she want to put some poor man through the trials and tribulations of being married to her if she could just leave him at any point and then take half of his money anyway?
Yeah, but Lauren, she
And-
also says women are supposed to pop out babies. That's their purpose in life. And if you do that without married, then you're bad because then you're used good. I don't know.
And I just don't think it's good for society. It's not good for men to promote don't ever get married, don't even try, get a vasectomy, hang it up, because like I mean, I could find a study about this, but men who are alone for too long, it is not good for them. They need someone to help keep up their place. They need someone to make them a sandwich every once in a while. Like, you ever know that like a guy that stays single for too long, you look at their apartment, you're like, holy shit. You know what I mean? There was a guy that I had to take shopping a couple years ago. Anybody in his life that was like, buddy, you got holes in your jeans, you know? But I just don't think it's the best advice. And guess what? A lot of men that might be fans of Pearl. Jesus Christ, Lauren, your dog sounds like it's jumping out a window.
I know. It's because like all the
it's very echoey. Sorry to make fun of your dog. I love dogs.
Oh,
but
so
here's
cute.
the thing. I'm sure a lot of Pearl's fans that eventually do want to find a woman, guess what? They might all their choice might be only leftover women. And what would you that dog is really cute. That's worth it. And so it's like, what would you prefer your fans to end up happy with companionship and a spouse, but they're left over? Or would you like them to be single forever and lonely and getting depressed? So
that's a good question.
I
don't know.
That's why I don't think her main prerogative is to help people.
I don't think it is either. I think her main prerogative is to make money, personally.
And also, like that's why Rachel's tweet doesn't make any sense. She's like, she's literally not against marriage. She's just against the laws which make up marriage. Okay. It's because Pearl's argument doesn't make sense, so nobody can like straw man it because nobody knows what the fuck she's trying to say.
That's why I wish she would come on and explain what she actually means. Like, I would love to have a conversation with her. Like, what do you mean? Like, please explain to me.
And I can understand the point. Like, okay, if marriage sucks, just don't get married. But like, it just sounds like you're encouraging. Well, what if a guy wants to have a kid? It's better for the kid to be in a marriage. And if you want to help your fans who are men, you should not be encouraging don't get married, because a lot of them are going to knock up women. You know what I mean? It's like, in a perfect world, don't get married, but a lot of men still get women pregnant. So if you want to help your male fans who are impregnating women, then shouldn't you be encouraging marriage because it's better for the child?
Right. I mean, I think according to her, it's actually not better for the child because then you're likely to go through a divorce, which is going to lead to like a custody dispute, which automatically involves the state. Whereas if you didn't previously have marriage, then the custody dispute wouldn't necessarily involve the state.
Okay. Of course. Like you could have definitely made an argument. Like my parents were very miserable together and, but they just couldn't afford to get divorced. But they were divorced in spirit, you know. They were definitely not kind to each other. So who knows if we would have been better off with them not together, not listening to their fights and such. But they wouldn't have been, because they would have been destitute probably. So
she just responded to us again via Twitter. I put it.
Yeah, why come on the show when you can just live tweet? That's a lot easier. It's also like you don't have to explain your bad takes if you're just tweeting. I get it. Maybe that's easier.
It's smart. It's smart.
If you think I'm usually wrong, you should debate me. Maybe you. Okay, so this was a Rachel Wilson talking about just basically, we're talking about, okay, well, Pearl's got a problem with marriage, but it also encourages men to just like swap out. Because if you're always championing youth, and not everyone can get a young virgin, and of the young virgins, those might not be women that most guys are interested in, right? Because they might be too religious, or Maybe they just don't have any in their area, their big city that they live in. So again, we're just talking
Despite all
about
the ads.
right. Again, in this clip, none of us are talking. None of us have said that we think we're hotter than Pearl. None of us have said I agree with Pearl, but I don't like how it makes me feel. None of us said, yeah, marriage sucks, but just bail me out of bad choices. Literally, nobody said that, and no one said again I am hotter than Pearl. So why would you tweet a clip and then just say things that none of us are saying? You're just trying to make your point. Why even tweet the clip? Why is it doesn't matter what we're saying because she's gonna put her own spin on it.
Somebody said Pearl clutches herself.
I don't
Clutches
understand why men would get married today. Is it a win? Even if you
Go to hospice every weekend, you know, and then when he passes away, I get to live second life. And you know what? Thank you, Clam. It's because of you that I'm no, I'm teasing. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing to say because, like, well, women, we must just we'll just give up, I suppose, and
just roll over and die. Because
all of our husbands will just go for a younger woman.
Right, because even if you do things, quote, the right way, everyone ages.
Yeah. But it's, I guess it doesn't matter. People, she makes no sense to me, though. So much that I don't know what to say.
You know why she gets the reputation of being misogynistic? Because, okay, what if you have women who, it doesn't matter what their ages are. Like, let's say they are between like 25 and 40, whatever. Post their like early 20s or late teens hoe phase, right? And then they realize, oh my God, they wake up, they go, oh my gosh, I need to turn this around. This is not the path to happiness. And they're whatever age they are, between 25 and 40. And you know what? I wasted a lot of time, but maybe I do want to meet somebody and try to start a family. And that person's finally got their head on straight and they finally got their values in order. And guess what? Not everyone's fucking perfect. And sometimes men spend years of their lives being a fuckboy or being depressed or playing too many video games or not getting a job or not getting their head on in the way that's most productive for them. What do we say to these people? Well, fuck you. You're left over. Just give up. You know what I mean? Like, okay, people turn around when they turn around. And this is another thing. It's like
sometimes you have to hit rock bottom,
right?
To, like, turn it around.
So that's probably a lot of people right now as we're living in this kind of like a lot of women are waking up from feminism. Maybe a lot of guys are waking up from the red pill community or being kind of misogynist. Don't we want to help these people? Like, don't we want these people to thrive and have good lives and find a partner or a spouse or should we shame them for the rest of their lives for fucking around for a few years? I just don't think that's productive. I don't think that's helpful to people.
Well, I mean, that's going back again, Chrissy, on depending on what your goal is. Whereas I'm like, okay, maybe yours and my goal is to help people, but Pearl's goal is to make money. So like her ultimate goal, not that like we don't want to make money because we're all in here making money too. So it's not about that. But I'm saying like with her, it's more like, okay, what can I say to get the biggest reaction and keep those biggest reactions? Like, you know, I want these people to keep coming back to me and thinking. So she doesn't want to help people. It's just like kind of like big pharma, right? Like it's like they're in the business of keeping people sick. They're not in the business of actually curing people or providing a cure. They're in the business of keeping lifelong customers. So that's what she wants to do, is keep lifelong simps, lifelong, you know, customers that keep coming back to her and her viewpoints because they're miserable in their own lives. So no, she's not in the business of helping people, I don't think, personally.
Yeah. Oh, but we're terrible because my show is called SimpCast. I'm sorry if you're too dumb to realize that I'm a comedian, which it says so on my bio. I was a comedian first and foremost before ever doing podcasting. I'm a comedian, and the name SimpCast is a tongue-in-cheek joke. If you can't put two and two together, that we're not actually requesting and calling for simps. If you're too dumb to figure that out, then I really can't help you, darling. It's just a little bit of common sense would go a long way. But again, she's not really in the business of having a sense of humor. And a common critique of this red pill content. It's great for people who have been burned by the opposite sex. It's perfect for men who've been fucked over by women and are looking for reasons to justify them never getting back in the game, to never risk being hurt again, to never risk being taken advantage of a woman again. And that's how you stay safe, but it's also how you stay miserable, because I think we all are human beings who thrive on relationships. And I just don't think it's good for men or women to just be single, just never. And again, if you're with somebody who wants to have kids and you're not getting married, well, that relationship might fall apart. So you might think you're protecting yourself, but we all have to take risks in life to be happy. We all have to take on responsibilities to feel worthy. That's what life is about, risks and responsibilities. And I think this content really appeals to men who've been hurt. And good, you know what? Stay safe, stay in your bubble. Yeah, fuck women. Women are the enemy. The system is against you. Don't even try. Chop your dick off. Throw it into the ocean. Get back to your video games. Hook up indiscriminately. Do a live, love, laugh moment or whatever's the equivalent for men. I just don't think that promoting that is helping people's quality of life.
No, I don't either. Doing the opposite. That's why I have such a huge I don't like the manosphere and stuff like that, because I feel like it's doing the opposite effect. I've actually had arguments with Andrew about this. Andrew Legal Mindset, where because he is in that sphere a little bit, and he thinks that men really need that sphere, like that it's really helping a lot of men.
Well,
and I disagree. I don't think it's helping men. I think it's doing the opposite.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate just a little bit, because I do hang out with the fresh and fit people quite a bit.
Okay.
And so first of all, I know the women who run that show deeply believe the rhetoric, which I think is silly. So I think it's silly that they believe it, but it's they believe the rhetoric and to their own detriment. So when they're dating a guy, they allow their boyfriends to cheat on them, because how can they possibly require a high value man to remain monogamous and stuff like this? So it's actually really detrimental to women.
There's a difference between allowing and having cheating as a given, then shit happens, let's work through it and stay together. I don't think it's healthy to out the gate be my self-esteem is so low, I assume you'll cheat and I'll just get ahead of it by being okay with it.
Ooh.
So that's their mindset, that they can't require monogamy from these high value men. And then with them,
isn't that marriage? Marriage is supposed to be monogamous. One part.
And I think but I do think for these men, a lot of the men are trying to get out of this it's kind of the swing of a pendulum. It's one of two sides. So a lot of these guys start off as just have you seen 90 Day Fiance?
No.
Those types of guys who believe that these women across the world are real and send them hundreds of thousands of dollars to just appease them, and these women hate them and treat them like shit. So it's saving those kind of men. Those men really need to learn women should not be women are just people too. Take them off of pedestals and maybe learn to see their negative sides and negative aspects, and look at the manipulation tactics on the women's sides and yada yada. And women have done the same thing to men. There's a book called The Pickup Artist, and a ton of women read that book to learn the tricks and the
guy with the big hat that was all about negging. Yeah, it was popular in the early aughts.
Exactly. So women really started digging into that and seeing how men were manipulating them. And now it's men's turn to learn how women have their issues as well. But it doesn't work for a lot of men. I think it's really bad advice, because it's just teaching them to hate women, and it's too far of an extreme. But that's my devil's advocate.
No, I agree with you, Lauren, about a lot of the stuff you said. And it's not I'm saying that it's not necessary or needed. It's just to understand, I think if you have nuance, that you would be fine, but most people don't have the nuance. So like when they're going into these groups, or and I'm not just like pointing out Fresh and Fit. I mean, Jack Murphy is the perfect example, like of somebody who was in that in that group, and then a lot of these dudes, like very. Especially like I feel bad for them, like young dudes that don't know what's going on. Very very young dudes going. Maybe they've never even been in a serious relationship, they don't know, or maybe they've had one and it went terribly, and then they're like, oh my god, we're so jaded now that all women are terrible. Right. And then they kind of flock to this one guy that's like, I'm this guru, I'll tell you what to do, I'm an alpha, you got to be an alpha, you got to take what you want, you got to be a winner, blah blah blah, all this stuff
a month. Yeah.
And then it turns out the dude is like getting pegged and letting his girl go and have sex with Matt from Tinder or whatever. Like, so I think like that's the stuff that really gets to me when there's like this big, there is
we need to talk drama
being manipulated. Like that men are being manipulated as well by other men now. Like, because the point was that they wanted to stop being manipulated by women, but other men are now manipulating them, and it's that I feel
like Sneeko and Zerka for me are like two of the biggest liars I know. Like hanging out with them and seeing the way that they acted off stream versus how they Zerka said that he was so much wealthier than me that like neither me nor any of my ancestors or anyone in my future descendants will ever know what it's like to have the wealth that he has.
Oh, why would he? That sounds like something an insecure person would say.
And he's broke. And he's broke. So like these people are just, and they're like, oh, you want to live like lavish lifestyle with like the girls and like, and like Lauren got dumped by a broke guy. And like he makes these like dumb jokes and everyone thinks he's so funny and like, I do coke. But they're just lying to you. They're just lying to you.
I don't even know who that other guy is.
How much coke he does.
Oh shit! I don't even know who this person Zerka. I don't even know who that is. See, I know I've heard of Sneeko, but I've never heard of this person before. Because I'm not.
You're not anybody till you just go by one name. That's what I've learned.
Oh, that's right. Like Madonna.
Yes, you want to be. You just got to get to one name.
Sure, Madonna, Cher. I mean, they knew what's up. Yeah.
Oprah.
That's a strange thing to say.
Beyonce.
We got a couple of super chats that I've been ignoring. Deranged Lunatic Chrissy, have you tried the grapefruit method yet? No, I have not. I'm afraid.
I saw that the other night.
Frank's genitals. If I were to do that.
Wow, that was intense.
It looked fun. It looked creative. A little cutie from Texas. She gets money thrown at her from men. Come on, Pearl.
Sure.
Well, I mean, anybody on YouTube is getting money thrown at them by someone if they get super chats.
Like right now.
They like this. Like, oh my God, it's an orange boy, which means time for the drop. I said, make sure you choose songs that make me seem as white as possible. And he did. Gunstar 1 get Pearl on the show, along with Melanie Mack, Force of Light, Tree, Leanne Starr, Megan Fox, and Mandy Summers. That would rule. But she's just so busy. She's too busy to come on the show, but not too busy to live tweet the show. But thank you, Gunstar.
I'm having beef with Tree right now.
Oh, you're having beef with Tree? I love Tree.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Oh, really bad beef. Like, she said I was wrong about something, and when I tried to be like, actually, I'm not wrong, she like blocked me from chat and she blocked me from Twitter, and then she blocked me like on all platforms, and then she made a whole YouTube video about why I'm an idiot and why she thinks I'm dumb and why she thinks I'm lying about passing the bar in 2 states, even though I posted my scores multiple times on multiple platforms. And then Destiny reached out to her and offered a debate between us, and she said that I was a clout chasing shark and that she would not do the debate.
Oh my.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look.
Yeah, let's get Tree in here.
Thank you, K-Mac. As I remember,
was not
we
right.
all might have started out supportive of Pearl. She was on that Vice feminist panel with Sydney Watson. Yes, that was a great panel. All of us supported her there, but she just seemed to go to the other extreme.
Oh, I never watched that. I wanted to watch that forever, and I
good.
never watched it.
It was really good. I think they picked people purposely that were kind of leftist and dumb. And I think they picked.
They usually
Pearl.
do that.
I think they picked Pearl and Sydney because they wanted everyone to like hate on them. But they
Yeah.
were both so well spoken, and that it was hard to do that. Viking, they say Pearl hates the environment because she loves burning coal. I need a zing noise. Zing.
Help.
Dan Halen, Pearl's going full Martina Marcotte, except she's not married with a child. Well, good. Then we won't be corrupting her breast milk with stress.
I was just going to say that.
Jacob McQuaid. Anybody else notice these Manosphere people suddenly converting to Islam over the last year? Sneeko said he became Muslim to be poly. Weird grift. Well, I think it's a very like uber men can do whatever they want, right? Men don't have to be monogamous.
I literally saw a tweet the other day about this. I don't remember who it was that said this, but it was like some dude was like who knew Islam was going to be the right religion, and Islam was right about everything, and this is what they were right about the West. They were right about women. They were right about how we need to like control them and blah blah blah, and they were right about this and that. I was just like, as someone who came from an Islamic country, I left that hellhole. It's just really sad this is the kind of shit I'm talking about. The manosphere people are pushing stuff like this that really makes me upset. I'm like, that triggers me because I'm like, no, what you're talking about is literally misogynistic shit. You're saying you want to take steps backwards in the Western society, because that's what the other side is striving to become like you guys, and now apparently it's the other way around. It's kind of crazy.
Wow, I just maybe I'm old school. I think people thrive better when they have a partner and a true companion. And there are always going to be guys that don't want that don't want anyone to check them or challenge them or collaborate with. They want to be their opinion is the only one that matters, and then they would be better suited for just hooking up with a ton of women sort of indiscriminately. But I just think the red pill rhetoric of okay, if you're trying to tell men don't get married, you're not saying don't hook up. Men are going to hook up. Men are going to fall in love. And then what? What do you do with the men who
multiple
want
lives? That's what Islam is for, though. That's one of the things is that they have multiple wives. They can tell them what to do. They can, it's just they rule over the women's lives. They do everything. They say everything. It's okay for you to go out. It's okay for you to do this. It's literally that kind of lifestyle that they're apparently rooting for now. They're
hey, and if that works for the women, God bless. If they I would love to meet a woman that's in that and that it works for them. And maybe it means if I don't feel like blowing them, I just have Pam do it. Or if I don't want to listen to him talk about baseball, I just call in wife number 3 for that,
Yeah.
I mean, they had that TV show and now they all fell apart. And then you look at the only group in America that allows for polygamy, and they struggle with for instance, the LDS people. They struggle with massive issues of DV and shit, and so it doesn't really work. And
wait, what's
really
LDS and what's
diverticulitis? I don't know what these stand for.
Yeah, I don't know.
Latter-day Saints. So the
okay.
Mormon Latter-day Saints is and it's not all of them, but there's a certain subsect which is a cult where they are polygamous and they marry the first wife legally, and then second, third wives, all the way up to 10 wives. They're not legally married, but they're given a house by the church, and they're really not allowed to leave that house, and they just kind of pump out a bunch of children, and then they have a bunch of domestic V issues, that's DV issues, violence issues. So yeah, it's really horrible. And there's actually a bunch of TV shows on it. There's one called Escaping Polygamy, I think it's on Hulu. It's pretty interesting. These girls who got out of the cult, like help other people get out of the cult. And then they explain the problems with the cult. So one major problem with the cult is if every guy has 10 wives, then they have to get rid of like 9 out of every 10 boys. So they're called like lost boys.
Well, the craziest thing is like we're talking about this like conversion to Islam and that how they like the fact that there is, you know, that they can have multiple wives in Islam and they were like they're rooting for that. While in the same breath they're saying like don't get married, marriages suck, women leave men all the time. But it's in I guess in Islam though, the women can't leave. That's the thing, right? Because in Islam, you can't divorce a man, like unless the man wants to divorce the woman. Like that's the only way that you can get out of a divorce in a divorce. So they're fine as long as they can control the situation. They're fine with having multiple wives, and as long as they can leave. But the women are not allowed to leave, so that's okay. It's crazy, man.
Terrifying.
I wonder if those women then have to act like men who want to get broken up with, like they just like become really boring, they don't like cook or clean anymore, they don't put out, they come home late all the time. Like what do they have to do to get broken up with? They just have to start sucking,
I guess, cook really bad food. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe maybe start biting some dick once in a while, like use some teeth, like
chomping down.
We need to replace her, come on. She's out.
That is so funny. Okay, I think I have one more clip here. Oh no, I already did that one. Yeah, again, how I don't understand how being like married or engaged means you're left over, but maybe I have a different definition of it than old P. I'll just call her OP. Okay. Gosh, can I not find this? Okay. Keep talking. I'm gonna find this clip.
Well, somebody said in the chat, Chrissy, Shad is LDS. Ask him about polygamy. He doesn't practice it. FLDS is what she's talking about. I guess, Lauren, you're talking about FLDS.
I must have, yes. I damn it. I always do that. Yeah, they're two.
It's okay.
Very
It's pretty close.
sects, and I think I really was offensive to the LDS people.
Wow.
No, there's like two different sects of like Mormonism, and I think even within both sects, there's like a legitimate religious element, and then there's like a cultish one. So I maybe it was FDS. I don't know, FSD, whatever.
All these
abbreviations. Here's another tweet. Pearl, let me get this straight. A podcast literally called SimpCast is accusing me of not wanting to help men. A podcast called Nevermind. Also, why are these crazy ladies pocket watching? So this is Pearl genuinely not understanding that the name SimpCast is a joke, for which I thought she was smarter than that. I guess I was wrong.
Shorts, but she doesn't have a lot of traction on her long form videos. She doesn't have.
Oh, here's what I don't think she liked, that you were critiquing her numbers and her views. I think that's the real issue. But instead of making it about that, she's like, "Oh, everyone's mid."
Like a lot of people reaching out for her to like come on. She has a.
I'm gonna let this stew for a moment. We have an orange boy. Thank you, Reyes de Madrid. I think that means sunshine.
Get that song.
Yeah. There are Mormon offshoots that practice polygamy, but trying to practice polygamy in mainstream LDS is a fast track to getting excommunicated.
Yeah, I could have very much mixed up I think it was FDLS. There was like someone said it correctly in chat.
Jeez. There's so much to keep track of. Zach, Chrissy is a thief. She's stolen my heart. You're right. I'm not giving it back. Mark of reality. I don't think Bisconti wants to be with anyone but Keanu, his cat on the other hand, but how does that all compute in Pearl's formula? I don't know. I guess if she decides you're left over and nothing else matters. Push Up says, fake news. No such thing as too many video games. Patriots in Christ. Get married. Just choose wisely. This is what I have been saying.
Yep.
Get to know if you're so worried that your partner is going to like screw you and take full advantage of the system. If you're really paranoid about that, then don't marry them. Like really observe the people you date closely. Look for signs, look for red flags, and then don't marry them if they have those red flags.
Well, and that's the thing that I'm kind of like. Now, here's where I play the devil's advocate, because I'm always like, I'm not necessarily for marriage either, and I know that people like that confuses people a lot sometimes. But I know that originally marriage was a religious thing. It's true, like that's where it originated from. But times have changed, and now marriage is kind of like a government contract, where what you're really doing is just making a contract, and you're making, you're combining your assets. It's just it's a very different. It's become a government thing versus a spiritual thing. So I think that a lot of people, and including myself, like, a lot of people just don't get married for a long time. Like, you stay with the same person, you're practicing monogamy, you're not married by law. It doesn't mean that you're not married in your hearts, and you're not actually practicing the spiritual idea of marriage. But some people just are not good at that. Maybe there is a lack of trust, more so in the government than anything else. And so a lot of people choose not to get married for those reasons. I mean, that was one of the biggest jokes about gay marriage, was that even straight people don't want to stay married or get married because of the government butting into your thing. Like, why do gay people want to get married? Like, that was like one of the biggest jokes. It wasn't really about marriage. It's not really about love anymore. It's about this contract. And I think that that's what I usually advocate for, is if you want to, be with someone, you don't have to necessarily get married. You just have that spiritual connection and stay together and practice monogamy. It's as long as you can do that, you're basically fine. Like, you're good.
Right. The biggest reason to get married would be like if you want to have kids. And a lot of people make the case for not doing that if kids are not going to be in the picture.
Yeah.
But I think I don't think it's good to blanket statement for all men don't get married, because what about the men that want to have kids and want to make that work? And a lot of men do want to have kids, and it would make them very happy, and they want to be dads.
A lot of people talking.
I tried to get her. I reached out to her like just the other week. Come back, Pearl. Let's have another interview. She said she's too busy. So either she's too busy, wants nothing to do with me, or she truly is busy. Or
had an amazing
looking out for somebody bigger, probably.
Well, she is busy, but it's not with like it's.
It's not like with interviews. She said she's setting up a network. Good for her. God bless
her.
Completely remarkable and ugly and horrible and
Okay, Keanu, I think, is the only one really going out of her way to call her ugly.
Keanu always does that, though. She calls her clown.
Yeah, I just don't know that necessarily means everyone on the whole show needs to be generalized. I don't know. I try not to generalize everyone on a show based on one person, but maybe I'm weird. Again, it's harder. It's much harder to be nuanced. It's way easier to do sweeping generalizations.
Once you're on a show, Chrissy, that means you're basically the same person. Like, you and I are now. We've all merged. We're all one person now.
It's an amoeba.
One entity.
Or one entity. We're the Borg.
You're all redheads now. Armageddon. I'm here for that Nephilim blood. Oh, well, you're not gonna get it from me. I think I'm O positive. Mangus, if you're paying someone to learn how to be successful with women, you're being scammed. That community attracts loser incels, not regular men. I would say get a mentor, or like, again, never take advice from somebody whose career you don't admire or whose relationship you don't admire. And if you don't know somebody's relationship status, like, well, that don't take their advice on relationships.
But see, that argument could be used against that. Like, I'll play devil's advocate again. Like, bring up Jack Murphy, because Jack Murphy was someone who was like with a long-term girlfriend for a long time, and most people were like, "Oh, look, this dude's got his shit together. He's making mad dough. He's got a girlfriend." Blah blah blah. Until people started looking into it, and then they were like, "Oh, never mind." Like, it's like, oh, it's hard because people have different personas on the internet with what they like. They have different lives on the screen, or behind the scenes, and it's difficult. It's difficult to tell if anyone's actually legit.
True. A lot of people aren't. Dakarn says, Pearl, mid is not ugly. Mid is average. Why is average an insult? Also, Pearl, everyone criticizing me is mid and post-war. Oh. We're just human, all of us.
Yeah.
Armageddon, Lauren has a great set of
eyes.
And period.
Nice set of eyes. Thank you.
Viking.
Appreciate that.
Muslim women get stoned too much. They really got to lay off the wacky tobacco. Patriots in Christ. You can write your contract, or you get the default government stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not write your own contract? What?
Make your own contract.
Oh, because you can break it. Guess what? People break contract. Then don't fucking be with somebody if you don't trust them to hold down their end of the bargain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think there's something to. I think if we could contribute to the culture, like maybe make marriage a little more serious again, but also make it more fun again. I think the anti-marriage backlash comes from a lot of our impression of like our boomer parents who were like just kind of crusty and not fun and not having sex and not working together, not communicating. Boomers hate communicating. They don't go to therapy. They don't talk about their feelings.
Okay, yeah.
I think the pendulum has swung. Like a lot of millennials have now ended up in a place where they're like, fuck marriage. But I think ultimately it'll maybe swing back the other way. Because I see a lot of Gen Alpha kids. They're too young to get married, but Gen Alpha and Gen X more so swinging it back a little bit more conservative.
Well, and that's the interesting part, Chrissy, because I think you're right in a sense, because one of the things that's happening is that I think the pendulum's swinging back with regards to spirituality again. So a lot of the atheist people are kind of going back to becoming Christian or other religions, maybe even Muslim. So they do want to get married. Like when you become,
it doesn't help you when shit gets tough. Atheism, like there's no backbone of being there. There's no like basic set of values that will help you get through hard times or have trust or faith or hope or if you don't believe in something higher or bigger than yourself, then like your life can seem pretty insignificant pretty quickly.
I see that shift definitely. Like I know, like I personally know several people who have gone back to God from being atheist or to some extent agnostic even, but most people like complete atheists have gone back to become like being people of faith. One of them is Gothics, like the Gothics is one. I mean, Carrie Smith, like she was I don't know if she was full atheist, but she went agnostic for a long time and then she went back to Christ. I mean, there's a lot of people I know personally that are like that. So I think that's it's broad. It's broader. It's not just a couple people. I think it's a lot. It's happening to a lot of people, and I think that part of it was maybe even COVID. Like I know that sounds fucked up, but most people like kind of, because when you kind of like when you're at death's door or when people are at death's door, you really have to start thinking about the spirituality thing, and I just I don't know. I think people are starting to really.
I think I was more agnostic or atheist until pretty recently. For me, it was COVID too, but not for the same reasons of like death knocking on my door. It was more like I was that was when I became more political. And as I became more political, I kind of saw, like, I genuinely think some things are evil and some things, and that's when I was like, oh, well, if evil exists, then God exists.
Exactly. That's exactly it for a lot of people. See that you're the prime example of what I'm talking about. A lot of people have come to face with this evil that's out there, and then they're like, okay, well, if this exists, then the other side must also.
It inspires it inspires you to step up your own game and be a force of good in the world.
That's true.
It's true.
A couple more from Mark of Reality.
I love that song.
Marriage contracts have sex as part of the trade. This is true, especially in the Catholic faith. It says, "Thou shalt put out." Other people can't have sex.
Even Jews too.
They're like we got Catholic married, and it's like basically like, yeah, you got to put out. Enjoy.
Does it say when? Because Jews are supposed to put out on the Sabbath for their husbands.
Oh, really? I think Catholics are supposed to put out like whenever whenever it comes up. Like you can't reject your husband.
So every morning,
whatever they want,
whatever comes up,
whenever they want, plus whenever I want. Other contracts can't have sex in it because that's prostitution. We used to just have marriage in the church with no government involvement. Yeah, I would be for bringing more back to the church. Like, don't have government deal with it then, because if you don't have a faith, if it doesn't mean something deeper, part of why I want to take my marriage seriously is because it is a contract with God, and it's not just like fucking around anymore. It's like it really steps it up a notch, in my opinion. And there's a lot of people who don't want that, and then don't get married.
And again, it brings up the atheist factor, right? Because most of the people who are getting into, like, the people who are not, I shouldn't say most of the people who are getting into marriages and are atheists, there is no spiritual factor for them. So they're not really like, they're making a vow to a person, and then they're like, okay, well, I mean, promises break all the time. So it's like, well, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like, I can just break this promise. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's just between the person and the government, not God.
Little Sausage says Jesus was a carpenter. He hates it when good wood is wasted.
It's actually funny that we're having this discussion because I'm having a debate with Rachel Wilson on Thursday, I think. On Thursday about this very topic, about whether or not marriage should be only for this Thursday, about whether or not marriage should be only for the religious people, and like it should ban the secular, or whether or not marriage should be for everybody.
So what side are you leaning towards?
So I'm for everybody, and the reason being is just because of the way that the American Constitution is set up. First of all, we have a First Amendment, but then we also have a constitutional right to marriage. And I've heard people like say, well, where in the Constitution does it say we have a right to marriage? That's not quite how it works. Like, it's in prior precedent. So like, for instance, Loving v. Virginia, a man tried to marry a white man tried to marry a black woman in Virginia, and they tried to excommunicate him from the state because it was illegal at the time to interracially marry. But that was deemed unconstitutional because people have the right to marry whom they want to. And then you had Hodges v. Overfeld with gay marriage. And so that's just kind of my opinion. And then also with the First Amendment, you're not allowed to discriminate based off religion. And so to discriminate the atheists and the agnostics and prevent them from receiving certain tax benefits would be a violation of the First Amendment.
Okay, that's really interesting. That's a good argument.
But you're right.
What about non-Americans, though? What about non-Americans? What about people around the world? Should that be like Canadians? I mean, we don't have an amendment, or Mexicans. what should they get married?
Like, whether or not should it be restricted to the religious? Is that what you're asking?
Like, should it be a religious thing or regular?
There's something to be said with both what you and what Rachel seem to be coming at, where there's making it a contract between just the person and the government is not the foundation of marriage, and marriage comes from a holy sacrament with the church. And so you absolutely lose that when you allow secular people to get married. I do think there's a point to be said there. However, if you want to talk about the legal protections that come with marriage, I think that most governments should be formulated like the United States, because I love the United States, and therefore have the freedom of religion and thus allow anyone to get married. But it comes with its sacrifices.
It does. That's a really interesting. It's going to be an interesting debate. Like, I mean, because I think about that too. But it's funny because, like, the way that you phrased that triggered me, because I was like, wait, what? When you said, should they be allowed to, right? And I'm like, okay, well, who is this permission coming from? The government? Like, stay away from my shit. Like, like that's the thing that kind of gets me, is like, I don't like being not allowed to do anything. Like, I don't think the government should have a say in something like this. I think that's just ridiculous. Like, if you want to marry somebody, you should be able to marry somebody. And if you don't want to marry somebody, don't.
So if you want to if you don't want the government to have a say, but does that mean you want to get rid of like tax benefits for married couples? Do you want to get rid of like because there's so many government entanglements that comes with marriage? And
yes,
so
I do. I actually do want to get rid of that. I think that
Are the tax benefits really that good?
yes.
I mean, there's
depends
other
on the situation.
I mean, and people do it. There's also like the benefits of getting a green card if one of the partners is not from here. There's benefits for military spouses. There's all sorts of military benefits that come with the idea of marriage. And so once you intertwine the government with something, then you can't make it on the basis of religion without violating the First Amendment.
I think that's where I'm coming from. Is I think they should take all that shit away, because that's when you're having loveless marriages. Because who's like, okay, I'm gonna get married just to come into the country or whatever. I'm not, because it's a shortcut for me. Like that's ridiculous. Like that shouldn't be a marriage thing. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, yeah, get rid of it. Like it does. I think it does more harm than good.
So do you think people should be incapable of becoming citizens, even if they fall in love with someone from the United States and then move here and then start a family with them?
No, well, not necessarily. I just think that then maybe that you just don't get married in that country. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like
so both people have to move to a different country and both apply for new citizenship in the new country.
See, that's interesting. That's an interesting point. I don't know how that would work, but I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of green card marriages, though. That's the thing. Because I think
and I get that. I understand where you're coming from. Like everything becomes extremely clinical when you intertwine the government, and marriage is supposed to be about love and God. But when you're talking about marriage in the aspect that we use it today, then it has to be clinical, because it's just part of how we function as a society.
Yeah. I totally get you, and I agree.
Okay, I have a couple more supers that are now irrelevant. Sorry, guys. Russell Hall is stone cold sober. That's a problem. Push-up says, believe it or not, even Melanie had an atheist phase. We all do. It's what our youth is.
Mine lasted for like literally a month or a week, though. Like I don't remember how long it lasted. I was just like, okay, I'm out. Like, nope.
Albert M. Chrissy, I'm a fan, but I'm also a fan of Pearl. In my opinion, I think you guys are misunderstanding her. You guys would be better off not fighting. Do you think she's misunderstanding us?
If we are misunderstanding her, it would be really nice for her to come on here and explain herself so that we can maybe understand her.
But it's much easier. She's too busy. She only has time to tweet like 45 times in a row.
And also while she's watching the show and commenting about the show. So I don't know why she can't just come and talk.
She's too busy doing that to be here. Push-up says Canadians should have married or reproduce. Oh my God.
Ouch. I'll be sure to tell X-Ray Girl that.
Yeah. That's kinesis. Well, I think we solved everything, girls. This was a great chat. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you to the chats. We all just want to be maybe we are misunderstanding Pearl, but I think she's purposely misrepresenting the show and points that we've made just so she can trend. And God bless if that's what she wants to do.
S says a typical mean girl response. I thought we were really nice.
Here's Dina. This is what you need to learn about the internet. If you're a man who criticizes somebody on the internet, that's called critique. But if you're a woman who criticizes somebody on the internet, that's called being a mean girl.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Right. There, it's kind of one and the same.
Fucking patriarchy.
Any woman criticizing anybody for anything is a mean girl. It doesn't matter what it's about.
Sure.
That's it.
I love that movie. Maybe I'll go watch it tonight.
It's a great movie. Nina, what is coming up for you this week?
My show tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's Breaking the Narrative. It's so crazy though, is because I usually do it like the political show on Wednesday, but I kind of really like this war situation that's going on is just so annoying that I don't know if I'm gonna do a specific show. I haven't decided yet. I'll be going live at 10 p.m. Eastern, but it might be a fun show because I don't want to talk about all the crazy shit going on right now. So I don't know, but it'll be fun. So come and hang out with me at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, good. Lauren, what about you? You have your debate on Thursday with Rachel Wilson.
I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I have my debate on Thursday. I'm trying to pull up my calendar. I have a debate with Stardust as well on global
warming.
Oh, damn.
You really are like getting in with like the big the big liberals of like Twitch. That's where
Oh
the
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like super like into like I like the whole Destiny
them.
crowd. I don't know why. I just really do. I vibe with them. I'm supposed to be meeting Tucker Carlson next week. And then
what? That's a big deal.
And then SOS Cast the following week.
Wait. When you say you're meeting Tucker Carlson, are you saying in person or are you doing a stream?
I think I'm going to his house and getting dinner with him.
Whoa, that's a big deal.
Yeah, we'll see.
Wear something tight. No, what's your outfit gonna be? Guns?
I don't know. I'm going with somebody who I'm going like as a +1 kind of. So this person is
important.
So it should be interesting. I would love to debate Nick Fuentes, but sorry, you got a super chat on me debating Nick Fuentes, but he keeps ignoring me.
One about debating Nick Fuentes, that wouldn't be fun. Going to Tucker Carlson's house. That
sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Wear a bow tie.
I watched the show because I learned about women. Nina, could you get nerd cookies on Toxic Femme? Talk about Dune Part 2 and 40K.
Gunstar 1, that's definitely like, first of all, nerd cookies is always welcome to come on Toxic Femme. She's usually very busy, but Dune 2 is also delayed now. So she'll have to come when it's when it's going to come out, probably very later on.
Okay, cool. And thank you, Viking. Lauren should debate Nick Fuentes. God, is he even on any platform? Is there any way to?
Yeah, he's on Rumble.
He's on Rumble. He's on. No, I don't think he's on. He's on Cozy.
Okay. He's on Cozy, but he's definitely also on Rumble. Like he got censored that one speech, but he has a channel there, and he posts on there regularly.
Cool. I love it. I'm here for it.
Also, one last thing. If you are kind of over all the crazy news, Fridays I do a good news show called Infinite Hope, where I try to balance out the world and talk about, just not crazy shit. So come and hang out with me for that as well. Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern.
That's good. It's important.
Thanks for having me on.
Maintain sand. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate the time. Check me out on Friday Night Tights this Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then I'm doing a spooky movie watch along this Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna be watching Friday the 13th because guess what? It's gonna be Friday the 13th. This Friday, the 13th. I don't know when that's
nice.
I've never seen that movie.
Come in. If you want to like live chat it with me.
I'll try. I'll see if I can make it.
Going as a +1, pretty eyes, opening doors. Hey,
it's
all
with
our strengths.
Yeah. It's with an X. It's fun. It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
Yes.
I
love Tucker. That's really exciting.
I've never had like any interaction with him. Like I've had 2 friends go on his show. Turtle Boy, he's a friend, right, of yours, and then also a person Turtle Boy covered. And that was. Yeah.
Wait, who is Turtle Boy? I've never heard of Turtle Boy.
He is an investigative journalist. He is covering this case in Boston about this woman, Karen Reed, who was wrongly framed for a murder.
Oh, yeah, Karen Reed. Yeah, I know that. Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's the main journalist covering the Karen Reed case. He's the one who's been exposing it. He's the one that he's now getting mixed up in actual legal stuff because the prosecutors are complaining about him, and it's kind of wild.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's pretty cool. I thought it was like the I Love Turtles kid. I was like, that's like my channel. I like turtles.
I like turtles.
I love that.
He's like the mascot for my channel.
It's so funny.
All right, thanks, gals. Good stream. We'll see you.